So here we are in map number 2 of this best of 3. Overgrowth is going to be the map, and we are getting things going. Spawning in the bottom left hand position as the blue Protoss player. Representing XMG, we have ToD. And his opponent, to the top right, the green Zerg, representing Against All Authority, we have MiNiMaTh. MiNiMaTh down a game, and as such, battling to stay in this tournament. And by this tournament I mean this qualifier. Don't know if MiNiMaTh has the 200 wins required to play in tomorrow night's wild card, but if he doesn't, this is his last chance to qualify. ToD could be about to go 2-0. This is a round of 32 game, so if you win this one, and you then win the round of 16 game after, you win the series that decides who qualifies. So not too far, we're over halfway through this bracket. All the games of course are best of 3. ToD in that last game toyed with our emotions a little bit, and I'm a bit sad about that. He started making a carrier and then won the game before he actually produced it. It was mean. You can't play with the viewers like that, ToD. It makes us very stressful. Literally, I'm reading chat now because obviously there's a 3-minute delay, and like all of you are just like, sad face, the carriers. Why weren't there carriers? And I can't blame you. Carriers are awesome. I wish they get like improved so that we see them more often. But then if we saw them more often, would we then not have any benefit from carriers? Would we not get excited about it? Who knows? Anyway, ToD scouting out nice and early, and that's because he went for a Nexus first opening. Now on Frost the Nexus first, that's pretty fine. Your opponent's unlikely to scout you, Zerg player can't really punish it. There ain't much you can do. But on Overgrowth, it's easier to punish. But ToD can scout fast. He sees that, okay, it was a hatch, pool, gas opening, just the same as last game. Slight little slip up here, 4 workers in gas for a moment, but hey, it doesn't matter. Interesting to note, there are actually some maps where having 4 drones in gas gives you a minuscule amount more gas per minute. It depends on how far they are actually away from the building, and it all depends on where they're positioned and stuff, so it's pretty funky. Some maps are ridiculously broken for the distance between the gases. I'm not sure if this one is actually identical. It seems like the left one is fractionally further, but hey, this really doesn't matter. Also, has anyone else noticed how funky extractors look this way on? They just look weird. Everything looks weird if you rotate by like 45 degrees. It just doesn't seem quite right. Anyway, beside the point, nothing else to really matter. Got ToD just probing up rather, adding in a sentry now. No super fast Stargate or anything from him. Meanwhile, over on MiNiMaTh's side, we can just see drones, couple of lings, and then drones. Only 2 lings on their way out. These are mainly just to check around pretty much everywhere. ToD going to be probably proxying a Stargate, I feel. And a Stargate would be a really good thing to proxy in this location if it's going to be an Oracle. Otherwise, we may see things like proxy Twilight Council in order to go into proxy GTs. Couple of lings coming over. Are they rallied to scout down to the very left? Sometimes Zerg players will go all the way up there. Other times they'll just like run around here and then go. So a probe in the very corner won't get seen. And this is why you should always check the complete edge of everywhere. So, ToD still hasn't shown us what he's got planned. Adding in +1. It could just be for a proxy pylon up here, to be fair. I was saying it's going to be some kind of proxy Stargate or something like that, but it's gone past that window now, really. But ToD hasn't chucked down any other tech, has got +1 coming through. And these lings are going to see the Forge is researching something, so he knows that there's a ground upgrade on its way. Roach Warren coming out. And yeah. Roach Warren on its way just means that we're not going to be seeing the same build out of MiNiMaTh. I'm glad to see him mixing things up because game number 1, ToD dealt with the composition quite nicely. So up comes the lings now. Are they going to see the probe? This is what I was saying earlier. Yes, they just spot it for like a split second. But they're on an attack command, and quite often when you see a player do that, they go attack command assuming that the lings will just go and kill anything they see. But on that very edge, they won't go and engage it. So players don't often follow them. And because you don't see it building, probes and units don't stay on the minimap after Fog of War reappears. Forge being chrono boosted quickly. We've got a couple more sentries sitting around here. Wall off is complete. +1 shown, and that proxy pylon coming through, as well as the Twilight Council nearly finished up. We've got 2 additional gates coming in to join the 2 that already are there, taking us to 4, plus that robotics facility. So that means the Twilight Council likely to be only for the +2 upgrades. Could also get Blink down. We could be seeing some kind of Blink, +2 Blink play. Always nice. But to be honest, this is MiNiMaTh looking rather concerned. Maybe expecting a Sentry and Immortal all in, because he's seen a decent number of sentries. Just taking a look at MiNiMaTh's vision, he hasn't actually gone into the main at any point, so doesn't really know what's hiding up here. So that does cause him some concern. However, ToD, he's got great vision. Knows that the Hydrogen's up, knows what's coming, and he's also got a whole load of Zealots coming through. These Spine Crawlers are not done yet. The Roaches, 5 of them are out, but where are they? Okay, they're relatively nearby, so they should be able to shut this down. One Queen taking a decent amount of damage, but once you see the Roaches coming through, you just try and get any drone kills that you possibly can, because racking up the drone kills is what's going to be really important for you. That Queen ever so nearly dying. 7 health left on it, but managing to stay alive. 2 Stalkers, 2 Sentries, warped in to deal with this Overseer. MiNiMaTh, not yet. Putting it away. All the rest of the sentries just coming to secure this 3rd base. And the 3rd base, not too hard to hold actually on overgrowth approaches, because this gap isn't too large, and so you can just chuck down the force fields there. You can also wall off this area with 4 gates, which is something that a couple of Protoss players I've cast on this map have opted to do. Waiting to see now if this is going to get much damage done. With so many sentries up at 9, I very much doubt it. Behind this, we've got the Infestation Pit. And around the kind of 10-minute mark when this Infestation Pit was started, it's for a fast hive in order to get Vipers out for a Roach Hydra Viper composition. Now that'd be great if ToD was looking to go for some Colossi, but hey, do you see any Robotics Bay? Do you see any Robotics Bay here? I don't. And that means he's not looking for Colossi yet. He's getting Blink and +3 out. Staying on a more gateway composition, which means the Vipers aren't going to be of much benefit. So, not necessarily a misread from MiNiMaTh. Could just be for preparation. But his money, not urgently required to go into a hive or to Vipers yet. But what it may be needed for is a lot of units in the near future, should ToD decide to start getting aggressive with the Blinkstalkers. Dark Shrine also coming through now, so DTs are a possibility. Also got the option for a bit more damage to come through. A lot of Roaches, a lot of Hydras. Well, not actually that many, just a couple. But still enough to be a little bit irritating. ToD consistently scouting with Hallucinated Phoenix. Pretty much everywhere. Everything that MiNiMaTh's doing has been seen. I'm just checking to see if ToD's seen the 4th. No, he hasn't. That is up now, so been a while since he's gone to check that. Probably will do in the near future. Quick little run through. Making sure no proxy pylons or things like that are down. And a Hallucinated Phoenix this time is rallied up to start on that left-hand side. But gonna potentially go straight over those Hydras. They managed to just dodge it, which means it will be able to get the scout down. And this gives ToD a great indicator of what's happening. MiNiMaTh building those 3 Vipers, which will help. But there's no Colossi. So he's kind of blindly making those Vipers, assuming that ToD will have made at least 1 Colossus. But he hasn't yet, so just keeping a close peek on precisely what ToD decides to do. Not moving out yet, just happily sitting here on 3 bases worth of economy, adding in these additional gates, ready for those warp-ins. MiNiMaTh pressuring, but with still so many sentries at 9, all with pretty much full energy, there's a ton of force fields that can be utilised. The Dark Shrine is also done, and MiNiMaTh hasn't seen that or really anything in the main. And so these 2 Dark Templar that are sneaking on by are gonna get a load of damage done. There's no Spore Crawlers made at all. There is 1 Overseer that's here, and so therefore detection is just not a thing for MiNiMaTh in terms of defense. Could cause him some problems. But what could cause ToD some problems is this big push coming through. He needs the force field. Good force field's coming through. The Vipers get some abducts to nowhere. The Immortals gonna get focused out. But there's another two still in this army. Good force field's coming through from ToD. He's getting a nice bit of damage down, but lacks any splash. Still we get a whole ton more damage through. Force field still on their way. These Vipers gonna get suicided forward. And the damage looking really nice. ToD warping in a couple more DTs. The DTs he's already got are doing a fairly good job. And while there are Spore Callers now in production, unfortunately there's just no units here to actually attack them yet. The Spine of the Third will help, but this DT getting a nice bit of work done. In total, ToD managing to kill 12 workers this game in total. The fourth hatch is gonna be like dead, to be honest. The DTs in the main being cleaned up, but 13 workers killed puts ToD at 64 probes to 58 drones. He's fended off the big push, and he's continuing on with this composition of Immortals and Gateway units. The fourth hatch getting very low. If this goes down, it's a big problem for MiNiMaTh, and one more swipe and it's dead. Down it goes. No detection came over. Just a lot of units, which could actually end up dying. A DT in the main is also focusing the infestation pit. MiNiMaTh needs to stop this DT. This DT is a problem. If the infestation pit goes down, it's not the end of the world because the hive's already there, but it's still annoying. Okay, it survives. That's good. Very, very good. Losing the fourth, though, is pretty bad. So, a couple of drones. Going to be trying to long distance mine, but that won't help too much, especially with another DT coming through. Greater Spire on its way, so we should be getting some Broodlords if this game gets to the late stages. ToD here, gonna have to put up another good defense. Remember, lacking any form of splash damage. The sentry energy will be lower. Time warps and force fields coming out. An aggressive forward blink takes down a lot of roaches and a couple of hydras and forces a retreat. Where's that DT? I can't see him. Is he dead? Nope. He's just coming in now. Natural base still undefended, so more drones gonna die. MiNiMaTh losing quite a lot to these Dark Templar. It's incredibly irritating, losing these drones time and time again. The Natural Hatchery actually taking a decent amount of damage, but overcome all of the Overseers. And so the Natural Hatch gets saved. A couple of roaches attempting to sneak on by to ToD's fourth, and may actually make their way there, but with all of these Stalkers getting close, they're not going to survive. They're not even going to get more than maybe 1 or 2 shots off on it. Down they go. 3-1 upgrade sitting here for ToD. Meanwhile, MiNiMaTh on the 2-1 upgrades. So a solid upgrade lead for ToD, who's actually extending that thanks to the Chrono Boost on the Forge. Corruptors, though, now coming out. The Greater Spire is... Where is the Greater Spire? Greater Spire... Here. Third base. Has ToD seen it? No. He only knows that there's a Spire coming. However, he is in a really sweet spot because he has got a ton of Blinkstalkers. And a ton of Blinkstalkers are actually fairly good against Broodlords. If you think back to Broodlord Infestor days, that's before Tempest in Wings of Liberty. That is immediately where you try and deal with Broodlords. Blink underneath. So, with only 4 morphing in now, the first 4, ToD getting aggressive now really isn't what MiNiMaTh wants. He adds in a couple more spines, he's pre-splits his army to try and get a better concave, but ToD adding in more proxy pylons as well as taking a 5th base at the gold. So not only is he on equal bases, he's looking to get a base and a half up. Gold base I like to think is a base and a half, just makes it a bit easier. Couple of hallucinated Archons getting warped in here. This just makes the army look a whole bunch more scary. Unless there's detection, which of course ToD should know there's a ton of because of all the Overseers. The Broodlord count at 6, which is alright. But they are so slow. They're going to take a long time to get over here. Remember, ToD can just blink away if need be. Takes out that 4th base. MiNiMaTh ready to engage. A hallucinated Archon sees this all and a mass recall is going to come down. And that is such a wise decision from ToD. He does not want to take that fight. He's picked up the 4th, kept his opponent really struggling economically. And could very well now look to go into, say, like a Stargate and try and tech up into Tempest if he feels that his Stalkers alone can't stop this. The composition's pretty nice, actually, from MiNiMaTh. Hydra Broodlord. The Hydras deal with the Stalkers really well, the Broodlords deal with anything else on the ground really well. And without any splash damage, those Hydras are still fairly strong. It's just the volume of stuff ToD has at the moment. The Broodlords are going to have to keep taking these fights, and unless the Stalkers can get underneath the Broodlords, they will reign supreme. And the trouble for ToD is, he can't really blink underneath the Broodlords, for fear that the Hydras will just annihilate all of his Stalkers if he does so. A few more DTs coming in, and ToD just waiting patiently, preparing to get into a good spot, if at all possible. Wants to get a real count of how many Broodlords there are. There's 10 with this army, although more Corruptors on the way. ToD waiting. One force field played down, but those Broodlords are like, hey, oh, you don't mind about force fields. And ToD continues to retreat. A few more force fields on their way. These Broodlords are getting a long way away from the main army, and I'm glad to see MiNiMaTh pulling back. DTs slaughtering the main base yet again. And yeah, with this, ToD going to lose his fourth. But he's just going full in. He's going for it, and he can deal so much damage here. MiNiMaTh only has the army that is standing right now. And if he loses all of this production, he runs into some big problems. The DTs take out the Infestation Pit, going for the Roach Warren now. With what is 6 Immortals, buildings die ridiculously fast. ToD even splitting his army. Sending the Immortals, the big building damage dealers, up to the main with the Dark Templar. The third base being assaulted by the Blink Stalkers, who are happily dancing about, focusing a couple of Overseers just to try and take the detection out of the army. Down goes the Hive. The Great Aspire is still alive, but the fourth base about to die to Dark Templar as well. However, ToD really needs a way to deal with these Broodlords, and is currently just trying to retreat away from them. Doesn't want to take a head-on fight. But look at the damage being done. MiNiMaTh losing his Hydra Den, losing his Hive, losing his Infestation Pit. Basically, lost everything apart from his Great Aspire. So he can produce now Corruptors and Broodlords and Mutalisks. But MiNiMaTh, he's got a big army, 152 supply. He's pressuring in now. Going to be trying to get some nice damage down. Broodlords attempting to be added into this mix. But is it going to be enough? ToD losing power to some of these Stargates already. And there's so many Hydras underneath that even if Void Rays do manage to get out, I don't know if he's actually going to be able to do anything with them. And he doesn't get a single Void Ray out. Those Hydras just killing off everything they can. This is full-on base race. And I don't actually believe that ToD can lose this, because are there any drones? No, there is not a single drone on the field. There's not any bases, is there? Am I missing a base somewhere? If not, no, MiNiMaTh has got 5 seconds until he's revealed. That's it. That's the only extractor. MiNiMaTh has got to pull back or he's out. That's the only one. There's one extractor. That is it. And it's going to die. ToD's done it. He's won this game. He's going to win 2-0. Boom. Beautiful decision. Base racing there. And he now advances forward into the round of 16.